Midoriya tries to escape his feelings, 1A shows off some brand new super moves, and the entire cast is bombarded with a cavalcade of emotions. Let's talk about all of this and more as we dive right into the newest chapter of My Hero Academia. So My Hero Academia Chapter 320 is finally out, and with it we get to witness the highly anticipated clash between the one-time crybaby, now full-time thing that lives under my bed and whispers worrying thoughts into my head, Izuku Midoriya, and the entirety of Class 1A. That's right, it's Midoriya versus 1A, baby! Who could have predicted this? Now I'm just gonna say, the last time 1A fought the supposed next symbol of peace, they got their asses whooped. So, for Midoriya to win, all he has to do is take a note out of Mirio's book and get naked. In this chapter, Midoriya is confronted by the entirety of Class 1A, each member of the class gets to show off their new super moves, and Midoriya is forced to battle his inner demons. But before I begin talking about this chapter, I'm first going to go into a quick summary of what happened last time. And as usual, don't forget to Detroit smash that like button and slide into that subscribe button's DMs to hit that notification bell. Wait a minute, does that say redacted? In the last chapter, we saw Midoriya's harem back at UA discussing how they're going to get back their beloved green-haired lover boy, protagonist. The disciples of the top three heroes, Explosion Boy, Icy Hot, and Buk Buk Baka, informed the rest of their classmates that Midoriya must be with their mentors and All Might, as All Might has gone missing from UA, and their mentors are acting pretty suspicious, leaving all of their messages unseen. Now that's villainous. Mr. I'm not compensating for something with my tail, Ojiro lets us all know that UA is currently in purgatory. No one in, no one out, and no one graduating. Shinzo is pissed. Bakugo then tells everyone that if Midoriya and All Might are left to their own devices, they're probably both gonna die. Cause, let's be real here, when it comes to self-care, those boys have like one brain cell between them, and it's too busy being a hero to do its damn job. Not wanting her boy toy to pass away before she can get a piece of that ass, Uraraka immediately gets shit done, and she confronts Principal Nezu about helping them get in contact with Endeavor, who is a UA alumnus. I saw your comment. Endeavor shows up to UA, gets punked by Nezu, and Class 1A confronts the Flaming Daddy-O about their missing baby boy. Shoto goes angsty teenager mode and shouts at his dad for leaving him, and Bakugo tells Endeavor Midoriya is batshit insane, he's gonna die, and they need to do something about it. Endeavor, agreeing with everything Bakugo has just said, hands over Midoriya's GPS tracker. Nezu gives the kids permission to bring their friend home, and all of Class 1A declares that they will bring their friend back. Hooray! The story then quickly cuts back to the present, where we see Class 1A has finally found Midoriya, and in seeing his cherished friends and the very people he fights so hard to protect, Midoriya looks at each and every one of them and says, "Get the hell out of my way." Wow, he really is a monster now. And chapter 319 came to an end with Bakugo, Uraraka, and Ida getting ready for a fight, replying to Midoriya's angry shouting, exclaiming, "Make us All Might wannabe." And this is where chapter 320 picks up. This chapter opens up exactly where the last chapter left off, as Ida, Bakugo, and Uraraka are looking on at the now monstrous Midoriya preparing for the battle that is to come. Ida thinks to himself how he knows that when Midoriya puts his mind on something, he will never stop. And Bakugo shouts out to Midoriya once again, exclaiming that he and the rest of the class know that Midoriya can use the 4th, 5th, and 6th users' quirks. And in typical Bakugo fashion, he berates Deku about his new look and hits him with a classic, "You damned nerd." Now that brings back memories. Also, it's important to note that Bakugo doesn't say anything about the 3rd user's quirk. So, 1A is unaware of Fa Jing and Midoriya's new ability of being able to temporarily use a power equivalent to that of 100% of One For All. This could be a vital plot point in the fights to come. But anyway, after Midoriya gets classically berated by his childhood bully once more, he says a quick thank you to all of his friends for coming after him. But before they can respond, he uses the 6th user's quirk smokescreen in an attempt to make a quick getaway. Bakugo, having prepared for this maneuver, yells at his classmates classmates to not lose sight of Midoriya, and he leaps forward, performing his brand new super move, Blast Landmines, to counter Smokescreen. For this new super move, Bakugo places his hands on the ground and releases a widespread explosion, causing a large force of energy and a large gust of wind to blast outwards from where he is standing. Basically, he shoots down, the energy pushes outwards, blasting back anything in the nearby area. This large force of energy causes Midoriya's Smokescreen to disperse, revealing his location. Bakugo, having caught Midoriya by surprise with his new super move, yells out to Midoriya, calling his childhood friend out for leaving all of his friends without properly saying goodbye. And Bakugo hits Midoriya with this absolutely perfect line, "I guess once you start being able to do anything you try, everyone around you starts to look like an extra." Oh man, right where it hurts. There is something so beautiful about Bakugo, the man who struggled his way through his god complex into becoming someone better, calling out the once weak and defenseless Midoriya for viewing himself as someone who is, in a way, above everyone else. It's just so poetic, and it shows not only how much these characters have changed since the beginning of the story, but it also shows that Midoriya isn't that too different from his childhood bully. Bakugo bullied and disrespected people because he saw them as weak, and Midoriya coddled and was overprotective of people because he too, in a weird way, sees them as weak. While there is a vast difference in how they treat others, their views on them are the exact same. And Bakugo calling out Midoriya on what is widely considered his own greatest flaw really emphasizes just how far Midoriya has fallen. But anyway, after Midoriya's Smokescreen gets hard countered and he becomes visible again, a flock of birds surround the green monster and they begin to attack him. As Deku is being swarmed, it's revealed that the birds are being controlled by none other than the mountain-headed Koda, who angrily takes off his mask and cries out to his classmate that Nezu has agreed it's okay for him to come back to UA. And he asks Midoriya to stop resisting. Unsurprisingly, this doesn't break through the One For All wielder's unwavering mindset, and Deku attaches his Black Whip onto a building behind him and escapes the band of pigeons. Before young Midoriya can reach the building, however, he and his Black Whips are intercepted by Zero, who catches Midoriya's arm in his tape and comments about how he needs to be more cautious now that Midoriya has mastered Black Whip. In hearing Zero say this, Midoriya remembers how Zero was the one to help teach him how to use Black Whip efficiently in the first place. It's also pretty amazing to see the contrast between happy frizzy-haired Izuku training with his friends and new monster one-man army Izuku fleeing from said friends. After this quick flashback, Deku breaks Zero's grasp on his arm, but he is immediately attacked by Jiro, who uses her new super move, Heartbeat Wall, which just seems to be a new variation on Heartbeat Surround, except instead of launching her sound waves forwards, it's more of a widespread AoE attack. Unfortunately for Jiro, Deku does manage to narrowly avoid this attack, but as he does, she shouts out to him saying, "It may be trivial now, but thank you for showing me how to organize notes during the cultural festival. It made me super happy." And with this, we get a quick flash of a smiling Jiro as Midoriya thinks to himself how at the time he thought she was going to make fun of him for his vigorous note-taking. So when she showed a genuine interest, he got super excited and enthusiastic. I really like the way in this barrage of flashbacks, little moments like this are pointed out. Midoriya didn't change everyone's lives, but he did help each and every one of them out in tiny little ways. And it's these little moments that they remember. It may seem unimportant at the time, but it really is the little things that can make the biggest impact. While Izuku is being distracted by Jiro Jiro's comments, he gets caught midair by Ojiro, who uses his tornado tail dance technique. While Ojiro has our protagonist trapped in a bind, he asks Midoriya if he remembers how during his fight with Shinzo, he got frustrated because Shinzo was smack-talking Ojiro. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, this fight is 100% just member berries. Ojiro continues to talk to Midoriya, exclaiming that he will never forget what he has done for him, but he also informs the green-haired phenom that they can't just sit by and watch as he continuously pushes himself too far while fighting alone. As Ojiro says all of this, however, flashes of Aizawa, Gran Torino, and Bakugo being hurt and brutally injured during the war play in Izuku's head, and he forcibly unbinds himself from Ojiro's tail while stating that if he stays around, everyone will be put in danger. And in a truly terrifying yet pretty heartbreaking moment, he climbs out of the bind shouting, "All for One is going to take me away. That's why I left." I think what really makes this a devastating moment is the look on Midoriya's face. He doesn't look angry. He looks like a defeated warrior reluctantly accepting his own defeat. Following this, we see Tokoyami fly into the scene with Dark Shadow and Sato jumping up to catch Jiro and Ojiro before they can plummet to the ground. Tokoyami uses Dark Shadow to propel Deku into a nearby building, Man of Steel style, and as Sato saves his two friends, he cries out to Izuku that if he doesn't reconsider coming back to UA, he won't help him make candy apples for Eri ever again. Whoa, Sato, talk about harsh! There's a line, buddy, and you're getting awfully close to it. Why you gotta bring sweet little Eri into this? Jeez, talk about rough. As Dark Shadow, who is now holding on to Deku, crashes straight through the building, the two seemingly slam straight into one of the walls inside the building. But this wall is actually revealed to be one of Momo Yaoyorozu's inventions, as it shoots out insulation tape wrapping and restraining Izuku while a mask gets placed on his face, which was designed to knock Midoriya unconscious. Holy crap, that's a crazy invention, and it also makes you wonder what type of kinky stuff Momo is into to come up with a contraption like this. As Midoriya is being restrained, he responds to Sato's comments about Eri, replying, "But Eri doesn't need candy apples made by me." Now this is a very simple line at first glance, but it's actually a great insight into Izuku's current mentality. Eri would love and appreciate another candy apple from Deku. It would probably mean the world to her, but in his mind, she doesn't need it to live. So it's a secondary thought. Midoriya is too focused on what he believes to be best for his classmates that he's not thinking about what they want. But anyway, as Momo's kinky machine goes to work, she appears from the shadows like a supervillain about to unveil her evil plans. And she explains how initially they were only going to follow Deku, but after seeing his current state and with some assistance from the Endeavor Agency, they gained a new priority, and that priority is to secure his safety. Realizing he is about to be put to sleep, Deku, in a pretty badass moment, steps forward and begins to forcibly rip himself free from Momo's machine's restraints and Dark Shadow, angrily proclaiming that they all need to stop caring about him. But once again, his friends say hell no. As Kaminari jumps on him from out of nowhere, Shoji appears and wraps him up in a bunch of his dupla arms, and Tokoyami uses his new super move, Ragnarok Womb, in which Dark Shadow goes into his giant monster form and continuously wraps himself around Izuku and Kaminari, essentially turning himself into a giant dark energy containment cell. With our main protagonist finally fully restrained, Tokoyami tells him that he was the first person to think of using Dark Shadow defensively way back in the sports festival. And Shoji, of all people, brings up their team up at the training camp, and he asks Deku if he still sees them as a team that could match the likes of even All Might, or if he didn't mean it and now just views them as people he needs to protect. Now overwhelmed with emotion, Midoriya Midoriya, after being reminded time and time again by each and every one of his classmates about the hero he used to be, unleashes his full power. And in an actually surprising feat, he breaks free of Kaminari's grasp, Shoji's duple arms, and Tokoyami's Ragnarok Dark Shadow all at the same time, letting out a furious roar as he launches himself out of the building and through the skies. As Midoriya is mid-flight, his cowl and metallic mask get blasted off his face, revealing a teary-eyed Deku clenching his teeth in frustration as he thinks to himself how his friends deeply and truly care for him, as all of them, fully aware of the true danger of the situation, still chased after him. And as Deku closes his eyes, trying his absolute hardest not to let his emotions and tears take over, he lets out one final scream, begging his friends to stay away from him, lying once again that he is perfectly fine. But just like how My Hero Academia came crashing into our lives, Midoriya crashes right into a giant wall of ice. And as he gets embedded in this makeshift wall, we see standing atop of it is everyone's favorite half-and-half bastard, Shoto Todoroki. As Shoto looks down at the friend who once freed him from a dangerous and dark mindset, he tells the young and now emotionally unstable hero that it's okay to cry, and that he should allow all of them to share in his burdens. As all of this is going on a building nearby, we see Tsuyu Asui, aka Froppy, and she joins in this conversation as well, saying that when you're scared, you're allowed to tremble. When it's tough, you're allowed to shed tears. That's how you become like the heroes in the comics. And chapter 320 officially comes to an end after we see a brief flashback of a crying Froppy after the Camino arc, as the story cuts back to the present, where we see a now determined Froppy looking up at her friend in turmoil as she says, "We won't let you go alone." Overall, this was a pretty fantastic chapter. I wasn't sure where they were going to go with this confrontation, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Having 1A hunt down and try to detain Midoriya seems far more fitting than just having an all-out brawl. I also absolutely adored the way all of the class's flashbacks to convince Midoriya to stay were all fond memories of pretty mediocre situations. Getting to see how little things like Midoriya showing Jiro how to take notes or his training with Zero actually had a big impact on the characters not only rewards the viewer for remembering and cherishing these small moments themselves, but it also shows that even the smallest gesture can mean a lot. It also feels really real that these high school kids would bring up moments like these to help get through to their friend. Nearly every character got a moment, and it's great to see all of Class 1A who have been absent for the last good couple of chapters getting to shine once again. I am surprised that neither Uraraka or Ida had a moment in this chapter, but I am sure they're just saving it for the next one. This fight isn't over yet. As the last page of this chapter informs us, next time we will see this fight's climax. This chapter's message and Midoriya's most recent character arc of learning that it's okay to share your pain and struggles with others, and that doing so doesn't make you any less of a hero, but in fact makes you more of a hero, is an absolutely beautiful message that I am sure many fans of the series will resonate with. It's honestly really nice seeing a message like this in a series that's all about pushing beyond your limits. But let me know what you think of this chapter. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and comment what you think is going to happen next. For more My Hero content, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra!